Hey visual learners, welcome back to the channel. Just when we thought the tech world was buzzing with Apple's latest iPhone 16 announcement, Huawei steps in and makes an even bolder statement. That's right, Huawei just dropped their game-changing Mate XT Trifold phone a day after Apple's event, and it's making waves. It's not just the timing that's catching everyone's attention. Huawei's Mate XT Trifold is packed with innovation that could redefine how we use our phones. With a stunning design that unfolds into a tablet-like experience, next-gen camera tech, and blazing fast performance, it's clear Huawei is going all in on foldables. But is this bold move enough to challenge Apple's dominance, especially right after the iPhone 16 reveal? Stick around as we compare these two tech titans.
Huawei looked to upstage Apple on Tuesday. The Chinese tech giant unveiled a $2,800 tri-foldable phone just hours after its US rival debuted its new iPhone. Huawei showed off its new Mate XT, which users can fold three ways like an accordion screen door. The company said they've already received more than 4 million pre-orders for the device. Huawei Executive Director Richard Yu.
Today we bring you a product that everyone can think of, but could not make. Our team has been working hard for 5 years and has never given up.
In the technology reporter toolkit, events are key. The difference with Huawei is that this is about products largely for the Chinese market, but my goodness, the timing's curious, isn't it?
It is, and normally this is the sort of move that Apple would take, really cheekily scheduling an event right on the heels of a competitor's event. So for Huawei to do that to Apple is almost like Huawei out-appling Apple in this case.
Talking of out-appling, they talk about an epoch-making product. Everyone thinks it's going to be a several times folding phone. How much does that play to the Chinese market for Huawei?
So this would really be building on some tremendous momentum for Huawei. According to IDC data from the most recent quarter, Huawei made it into the top 5 for Chinese smartphone shipments, knocking out Apple, which was quite extraordinary. And so this would really be building on Huawei's success in its home country. And as you say, the device is rumored to have foldable creases in not just one spot, but 2 spots. And that would be a really interesting form factor. It would be a first of its kind that ships to the public. And what that really means in layman's terms is you can get a much bigger, more tablet, laptop-sized screen that can compress compactly when folded into the size of a reasonably sized smartphone.
Ever held a phone worth more than your laptop? Well, Huawei wants you to picture that. $2,800, that's their asking price for the new Mate XT phone. We're diving deep into why Huawei is swinging for the fences like this, especially taking on Apple head-on.
Yeah, it's a bold move, no doubt. And the timing, you gotta love it. Huawei drops this bombshell right when Apple's showing off their new iPhone.
Talk about raining on their parade. But what makes this Mate XT so special, other than the price tag, I mean?
So imagine opening your phone, big screen, right? Now imagine unfolding it again, boom, even bigger. That's Huawei's whole trifold thing.
Trying to redefine the game entirely. $2,800, though. That's a lot of dough for a phone.
It is, and yet they're racking up pre-orders, like 5 million of them. But let's not forget, Huawei's been through the ringer. Remember the U.S. sanctions? They had to scramble, build their own stuff from scratch. Their Kirin chips, those are their babies, made in-house.
A real underdog story.
That's what they're going for. The Kirin chips are their way of saying, we got this, even when the odds are stacked against them. And this Mate XT, that price tag, that tech, it's all a statement.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. But who are they building this for? Not everyone can drop $3,000 on a phone.
Well, Apple's got a lock on that global luxury phone market, but in China, things are different.
Right.
There's this whole guachao thing happening, national pride, buying local. That's the vibe.
So Huawei's betting on patriotism.
In a way, yeah. They're tailoring this phone for the Chinese market, even adding features that seem, well, let's just say specific.
Like what?
They got a camera feature that tells you if you missed a spot with your sunscreen.
You're kidding. It checks your sunscreen. That's hilarious. And oddly specific.
Exactly. It sounds funny, but it proves a point. Huawei's laser focused on what their people want, even if it seems niche to the rest of us.
It's wild how tech can tap into national pride like that. But Huawei's not just fighting with features. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, no kidding. We're talking $800 for the iPhone 16. That's a lot of cash. Then Huawei walks in like, hold my beer. almost triple the price for this Mate XT.
So is this even a fair fight? Is the Mate XT really going up against the iPhone, or are they playing a different game here?
That's the million-dollar question. Some people are saying, with all the bells and whistles and that price tag, Huawei's after a different crowd altogether. Think early adopters. They gotta have it first, folks. People who don't flinch at dropping a couple grand on the newest tech.
The status symbol crowd, right. But we got to talk about Samsung. Weren't they the foldable phone pioneers?
Oh, for sure. Samsung's got their own thing going in the foldable world. But Huawei's making a splash with this one. That price, those features, people are definitely paying attention.
His high-stakes poker, for sure. But with all the stuff Huawei's dealing with, production issues, those chip shortages, what if those pre-orders were all smoke and mirrors? This whole thing could blow up in their face.
Well, that's the thing about innovation, right? You got to take risks, push the limits. Sometimes it doesn't pan out. But even if this Mate XT doesn't become the next iPhone, even if it flops commercially, Huawei's sending a message to the world, but especially back home, that they're not messing around. They're innovating, competing, making their mark.
So you're saying, even if it doesn't sell like hotcakes, just putting the Mate XT out there is a win for Huawei, at least in China.
100%. It's bigger than just this one phone. Huawei's positioning themselves as the leaders of Chinese innovation, the face of this new wave of tech independence.
Like they're saying, we got this whole tech future figured out our way. But let's bring it back down to earth for a sec. Our listeners might be thinking, okay, cool story, but what does this have to do with me?
That's the key, right? What we're seeing with Huawei, it's a piece of a much bigger puzzle in the tech world. We're moving away from this everyone gets the same tech thing. National identity, building your own tech empire, that's the new frontier.
So it's not just about the coolest phone anymore.
Right. It's about what's behind it, who built it, what it stands for.
Taking sides almost.
Yeah, kind of. And that's what makes Huawei's move so interesting. They're not just selling you a phone, they're selling you an idea, Chinese innovation, doing it their way. Whether this Mate XT is a hit or a miss, they've put that idea out there. And that's something to think about, even if you're not dropping $3,000 on a phone anytime soon.
Because this tech sovereignty thing, that's way bigger than phones, right?
Absolutely. Imagine a world where every country's laser focused on building their own tech stuff, chips, software, the whole shebang, not relying on anyone else. That's the potential we're talking about.
Every country for themselves, tech-wise. So where does that leave us, the people buying this stuff?
Million-dollar question, right? More choices, maybe? Stuff built just for us? Or maybe a tech world divided, less teamwork, slower progress.
Two sides of the same coin, huh? National pride on one hand, but maybe we pay the price. Literally.
No easy answers, that's for sure. But by looking at stories like Huawei's, taking this deep dive, that's how we figure this stuff out. Make smarter choices as consumers, as citizens of this whole tech world.
So is Huawei onto something here? Or is this Mate XT just a really expensive way to show off? Guess we'll find out.
Time will tell. But one thing's for sure. Tech isn't just about specs anymore. It's about our values, who we are, where we fit in. This whole Huawei Apple thing, it's a sign of the times. Technology's becoming a point of national pride. What does that mean for the future of tech, for the choices we have? That's something I hope you'll keep thinking about long after this deep dive is over.